There's a gentleman on TikTok that does like this very interesting content. First, he was updating Nelson Mandela since he left, what has happened to South Africa and South Africans. So he has touched on some few things that I think he kind of like transitioned to other things and speaking directly to South Africans. For example, I love It Some More. I love It Some More. He has a problem with It Some More. And then on top of that, he said something that I always wondered as well. Like, no, is this pretentiousness or what? People who love avocado. Avocado. Oh. And I was like, yes, yes, yes. Finally, somebody that thinks like me about avocado. I was like, there's no way, you people, that you are pretending. And then again, he touched on something that any South African that eats a Magnum, he's calling SIU. Because how can you afford a 95 Rand slab of, I don't know if it's a slab, whatever it's called, of Magnum in this economy? Few days later, he comes for, he says, anybody that buys Jacob's Croning, he is calling SIU. I care if SIU does come over and you see me covering my head with toilet paper and newspaper and all kinds of stuff, just know it's because of my favorite coffee. It's wintertime. It started. And I already have here with me a mug. I just drank I'm almost done of my favorite coffee that I might have SIU all over me like bad rash. I love this coffee. You can never tell me anything. So let's talk about of course, the march, which was founded by Jacinda Ngobese Zuma, Mrs. Zuma. And we all saw how it all started. It started off as her on TikTok, voicing her opinions. And she gained momentum and then took to the streets. Few people were following her. Now look at what it is today. And if you remember, on this very channel, I challenged the men of South Africa. And I asked a question, how is it possible that a whole woman, there's nothing wrong with women leadership, and I always believe that the greatest wars that were won, that we read about in history, behind them, there is a woman. Because a woman in society, not only African, but European and other cultures, she should be in the background, unheard and unseen. But at the end of the day, she lies with a man in bed, and she's the one who, because she's not allowed in the forefront, she observes, she sees things. And during pillow talk, she says, my husband, if you did 1, 2, and 3, you would win this war. So in essence, what I'm saying here, most wars that were won, they were won because a woman's wisdom was behind it. And you can never argue with me about that one. You can never. So now in the 21st century, we are seeing women coming up, demonstrating exactly what I always thought about when it came to women. And I came on here and I said, where are the men? I mean, the part where it really got me was Eddington Primary School. Eddington Primary School is sentimental to me for a number of reasons. I've got relatives, children that went there and finished school there. It's the most beautiful primary school right there by the sea. Like, you literally walk maybe 100 steps and then you are at the ocean in South Beach. That's how nice that school is. And I asked, where are the men? And then I even went on a little rant about Hlangana Zulu. And I was like, Hlangana Zulu, my foot. Oh, little did I know that I was heard. Because while I was at the march, one of the prominent people in the march was like, when I was now, ngathi mina Nanikuphi uma ngobe esezuma ebusy abantu abangaphandle befuna ukumshaya bemshayela ukuthi neke isikolo seyingane zethu athi hayi uqinisile ingakho sukumile njengoba usibona nje hey sasuke sabona na ukuthi hayi ikho le ndaba. Basically meaning, yeah, it's you who mocked us about Hlangana Zulu. And now, then I explained myself and it's like, yeah, I was right. And if you look at Upagelo Mtagati, I've seen some people say, oh, Pagelo Mtagati hijacked. It doesn't work like that. And I've explained how leadership work. You might have a philosophical, academic hierarchy of leadership, but where we come from, especially, and I'm not saying, and I'm sure this is done by all South African black cultures, women do lead, they take the leadership, but they are known to be the brain behind most of the things, just like Jacinta. Jacinta is the brain behind Much and Much. But you udinga insizwa amabutho. That's what you need. You need men and warriors out of those men to lead the forefront. That is why you are seeing Upagelo Mtagati. Upagelo Mtagati got up and collected insizwa. That the people like Upagelo Mtagati, they are called insizwa. And should there ever be a war, and I think I did say this before, that if there should be a war that breaks out against the Zulu nation in KwaZulu, these are the people, including myself, because by virtue of we have to take formation, and we are led by different Zulu warriors, like Upagelo Mtagati is one of them. There are lots of them, and a whole lot of them were there as well. A whole lot of them were there as well in the march. Then you have the likes of myself who sit behind the mic, and then what I do, it's my way of leadership as well, of showing leadership, is I'm an observer, I see what is going on, and then out of my observation, I make an opinion. And this opinion cascades down to the brain, which is Jacinta. Jacinta then holds a meeting with the leaders of Amabuto, Insizwa, and say, okay, guys, this is what and what and what is going on. And I also picked up some few pointers from, I don't know if other podcasters like myself talk about something like this. Yeah. And then those things are implemented. They are implemented. So going to the ground for me yesterday was also to have a feel of Insizwa and how powerful their message is. When I'd say to you, the last time I walked downtown Johannesburg carefree was before the arrival of illegal foreigners. And I've shared this story before, how the city of Johannesburg, I'm talking downtown Johannesburg, and suddenly as I was walking, going towards Mary Fitzgerald Square, it reminded me of the 90s, mid-90s, all the way to about late 90s. I was like, oh my goodness, I remember this. This is still here. This is me going absolutely wild in my head. This is still here. But it's dilapidated. Of course, it will be dilapidated because the people that are that's the word I'm looking for, destroying it, they don't care. They don't understand the symbol. They don't understand nothing about it. But it's still there with the shadow of its former self. And then you walk a little bit down and you see there are some changes here and there are changes there. And goodness gracious me, some parts of our city destroyed. Completely destroyed, guys. Destroyed. That saddened me. I was like, oh wow, this is so sad. And then the glaring truth I was facing as well. You're telling me none of those shops downtown Johannesburg belong to at least 10 or 20 South Africans? Because South Africans, I did see stores when we were marching that were opened. And it's either owned by Xhosas or owned by a Pedi or a vendor. And we even saw a lady with a table. I think she was a Tsonga lady. She did not pack up and leave and run. Like I always say, and I've seen this being the foreign nationals pushing, especially illegal foreigners pushing back, that we can't tell apart ourselves from the rest of the African continent. We do. That is why they were untouched. Nobody went to them and asked them questions. We just looked at her and then South African. We knew she's South African. We knew. And some people, because they were falling hungry, there was a little bit of a queue. They were buying bananas, apples. She made money. She made money out of South Africans, something that they should be doing anyway. Before this influx, and we take our money and we're giving it to the wrong people, and that money doesn't even stay in South Africa. It's not taxed. It's not taxed. The smile on her face and other shops as well that we saw along the way belonged. You just one look, South African, South African, South African, and every other stores closed. And you ask yourself, these mega establishments, you're telling me not even at least 20 are owned by South Africans. But we have a government that is responsible to ensure that taxes are collected. So now the question is, had they collected taxes from those businesses downtown Johannesburg, we would have made 2 trillion rand? I don't think so. I think we would have made far more than that. These people, and I'm telling you, if you go to China City, the one in Doornfontein, you go to a Chinese shop, they don't want you to pay with your card. They want it in cash. The Chinese stores opposite the Johannesburg Stadium. Why? Who is the politician that does not go to them and say, hey, you need to use speed points? Because if you have a speed point, it means you are a registered business and you are also paying taxes. And we have a minister of small business, what? Useless. Useless. You know, if I were you, I would use this moment to go and join the march. I would use this moment to join the march, because the march is still here all the way to the 15th of May. They're not going anywhere. So that means all these shops, this is what I've always said to South Africans. Unfortunately, South Africans don't have the culture of boycotting. And because we don't have the culture of boycotting, that is why illegal foreigners are getting away with a lot. And I also told you guys about something that it's been sitting in my mind for the longest time: competition. South Africa encourages competition. That is why you will never see an ad on the television, for example, let's say Pepsi and Coke, where Coke tells the viewer, Coke is better than Pepsi. It's not allowed here in South Africa, but other countries in the world, like your Americas and wherever, they literally tell people, don't go buy Pepsi, BMW and Mercedes-Benz. So in South Africa, instead of criticizing, to discourage the competitor, what they would do is they will create, for example, Mercedes-Benz will create a car that if an accident almost happens, it does not skid over, but the brakes, they come so as close as possible, like no accident will be caused. And then BMW, in order to not exactly rebut, to be competitive, what they do is they run the BMW, let's say the guy, or I guess the model, driving on a hill, and then out of the blue, a deer crosses the road, like a springbok crosses the road. He presses the gear, but the gears don't necessarily catch on, so he skids off the road and then goes down the hill. but the BMW still manages to stop. So you as a consumer, you're sitting there and you're thinking, which car do I think is better? The one when I'm going down the cliff, because clearly if the car continues to go down the cliff, I might get to even a steeper cliff and then all the way down and I'm gone. Or a car that brakes work. That when I press the brake, the car comes to a standstill and I don't get to touch anybody else's car. That's the competition we have in South Africa. Therefore, no, we're not allowed to have direct competition. Same goes with pricing. If a Pakistani lowers the price, you have the right to go and call competition, authorities. Either you'll be taken to some kind of a tribunal or an arbitration. And of course, the guilty party will be fined. But the minister is nowhere to be found. Now they are monopolizing spaza shops. So right now, a fellow South African is missing, Mazwi Kubeka. All because these people, they're coming here to change the laws. They want to instill their own culture of piracy. Because where they come from, they are pirates. So you are taking over an industry that was created by us. And then on top of that, you tell us in our own country, we're not allowed to have a spaza shop. Hey, spaza, Tina, in a township, when we use spaza shops sometimes as landmarks. If somebody coming from KwaZulu-Natal, for example, coming to visit me, and I would say, number one, we give maybe 3 landmarks. Once the taxi climbs the bridge and then it turns left, it will drive probably another 10 minutes. Ask somebody in the taxi, where can I jump? Oh no, what's the name of the landmark? Usually it's a spaza shop. The Kangobo or Kwashabalala or even Kwatumagude. Everybody knows where these landmarks are because of our tuck shops. But no, they are taking that out. I ain't getting afraid to know. I'm sorry. So this means that since the March and March is still going to be around until the 15th of May, that means these people are not going to be making money. Which was another thing that I have said. Take away what they came here for. Because there will be no reason for them to remain in South Africa if they no longer get what they came here for, which is money. It's money. So now, you open your store, they said they're going to come to you and ask you, number one, are you legally in the country? Of course, they're going to say yes. Okay, fine. The store that you opened, and it's a foreign national, are you allowed to open it? 2, did you invest 5 million rand into the South African economy and got a certificate and a visa to prove that? Of course, that a police officer will be to check these documents. If you don't have that document, that shop is closed down. And I'm loving the relationship that has been forged between March and March and the South African Police Service. That's all that South Africans want. That's all. And look, as the police and the marchers are working together, peaceful, absolute peace. They are looking from the top of the buildings down and seeing the marchers marching. Ukhamba bazohamba. Going home is exactly what they are going to do. Because it's not going to be conducive. South Africans are stubborn. South Africans are stubborn. It's a stubbornness that you will not be able to endure. And it's strategic. The stubbornness is strategic. You will go home. You will go home. So those that are asking, I find it very interesting when somebody sets up a camera and says you are chasing black people, but you're not chasing white people. Uzoba strong. Uzoba strong. That's all I'm gonna say to you. So I also hear that in Ghana, I'm kind of like a little bit popular. What's up, Ghana? I said what I said about your foreign minister. He's a liar. If that doesn't sit well with you, tough. You are going to be strong. So don't lie. Do not lie, especially when you call in God's name. What kind of God is that allows you to lie? And you, who is attacking me, on this coming Sunday, you are going to be at church. So you support lies outside. Okay. Okay. But I said what I said. I am not changing my mind. I'm not going to apologize. And you say I must respect him. No, he must respect us. Better yet, mind his own business. If he's going to have gentleman agreement with our Minister of Foreign Affairs, they both can go jump. Fly a kite even. You see, now I'm including my Minister of Foreign Affairs. He's very unpatriotic. His name is Ronald Lamola. Very unpatriotic. So, are you happy now that I also criticized my Minister of Foreign Affairs? Oh, actually, I have far more stronger words for him than I do for your foreign minister. You see, I'm a South African. I am allowed. Anyways, let me get back to my warm coffee. And today is Thursday. I know some of you guys are waiting to hear what that big news that Clantis was talking about the other day. So today is our first session. I'm so nervous, actually, because I am the only African that was chosen. Once again, I'm the only African, and the world will be watching. And this program is all the way till, I think, end of June. So it's a 3-month thing. No, not 3 months, 2-month thing. And it's all thanks to you guys. Thank you. Thank you very much. I love you. But we'll talk about it after tonight. Because at least tonight, I will be able to share my experience. I believe it is 7 of us from each continent. And I am one of them. Anyways, guys. Anyways, I thought let me just come here and voice something that was running across my mind. I wanted to also talk about the 4th of November. Officially, we are going to the local government elections on the 4th of November. I'm going to come back and we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it. After my meeting with YouTube in about 2 hours. No, 1 hour, 20 minutes. So yeah, anyways, guys, I don't know. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts? I'm very glad to hear your opinions and your comments. Amazing, guys. Thank you so much. I've been laughing my lungs out. Laughing my lungs out. Anyways, let's see each other a little later. Goodbye.